today we're going to review our skills from Unit 4. So if you need to take home your textbook, you may take home your textbook if you want to review these at home for extra help. Alright, so we're looking at how do you identify the different types of angles? How do you recognize if a figure has rotational symmetry? Remember, it rotates and it'll look like itself before it gets back all the way around. How do you classify triangles? What are polygons and how are they identified? And what are transformations? These topics will be covered on your test. So if you can answer each one of these, then you are in great shape. Okay, then that's what we're going to review for today and tomorrow, and so then you can ask questions. Like acute, obtuse, bright, scalene, isosceles, equilateral. Don't matter. Alright. So we watched the Angles song. And we watched the classified triangles. And you guys should be able to do this one. So stand up. Alright, I want to hear you. Can you go closer?
Length of side and angle ties are all used to name and define the types of triangles we use in life. Learn the traits so you can name. Equilateral sides are the same. Isosceles, two sides the same line. Scaling, no sides equate. Triangles and three sides form a triangle. Right's got an angle of 90 degrees. Acute angles are all less than 90. Obtuse has got an angle more than 90 degrees. Triangles and three sides form a triangle. Triangles, three sides. 2D forms used by humankind. Geometric forms that build our world. Raise pyramids high. Here's how to define. Equilateral sides are the same. Isosceles, two sides the same line. Scaling, no sides equate. Triangles and three sides form a triangle. Right's got an angle of 90 degrees. Acute angles are all less than 90. Obtuse has got an angle more than 90 degrees. Triangles and three sides form a triangle.
Alright, now I help you out. Alright, let's watch.
Zoe is shopping for a funky new guitar to add to her birthday wish list. She found a company that makes guitar bodies in the shape of different triangles. But which kind of triangle should she pick? It might help if we classified each triangle for her. Let's take it step by step. Triangles are often classified by the length of their sides. An equilateral triangle has 3 equal sides.
Okay, equilateral is what we talked about.
See? The name equilateral gives it away. All 3 sides are equal. The 3 angles are equal too. An isosceles triangle has at least 2 equal sides and 2 equal angles. See? 2 equal sides and 2 equal angles.
Remember.
Now, if a triangle is equilateral, it can also be classified as isosceles. Since equilateral triangles have 3 equal sides, and isosceles triangles must have at least 2 equal sides, you know that equilateral triangles can also be isosceles. Are you staying connected?
Okay, look at these. Remember, if it has one hash mark on it on the sides, that means that those are congruent. If it's got two, that means if another line had two, that means that those two are congruent. This is how in math they show you that lines or angles are congruent. Okay?
The scalene triangle has no equal sides. Since scalene triangles have three unequal sides, they're also sometimes called irregular, and its three angles are unequal too. Another way to classify triangles is by their angles. Let's start with a right triangle. A right triangle has one angle that measures 90 degrees. On a right triangle, the side opposite the right angle is always the longest side. It's called the hypotenuse. A right triangle can never be equilateral because the hypotenuse is always longer than the other two sides. But a right triangle can be classified as isosceles.
Exactly what we've talked about. That's what we have up on our chart. We have that a right triangle can never be equilateral because that slanted line, the hypotenuse, is always going to be longer.
An acute triangle has three angles that are each less than 90 degrees. Don't forget what my math teacher always says. An acute angle is so small, it's cute. Kind of cheesy, I know, but it might help you remember. Acute triangles can sometimes be equilateral triangles if the angles are all equal and less than 90 degrees. So, for a triangle to be acute equilateral, each angle would have to be 60 degrees. On the other hand, an obtuse triangle has one angle that is greater than 90 degrees. So if you see one supersized angle, you know you're looking at an obtuse triangle. Obtuse triangles can be classified as isosceles if two of the angles and sides are equal. It can be classified as scalene if none of the angles or sides are equal. So here are the different ways we can classify triangles. An equilateral triangle with three equal sides. An isosceles triangle with two equal sides. A scalene triangle with no equal sides. A right triangle with one angle measuring 90 degrees. An acute triangle with three angles each measuring less than 90 degrees. Or an obtuse triangle with one angle measuring greater than 90 degrees. Looks like Zoe picked the scalene model. Better for practicing her scales, I guess. Oh man, I cracked myself up.
Okay, so this is just a review of all of our triangles, what we already talked about. Let's look at the watch out.
Pictures never lie, right? Wrong. Pictures aren't always drawn to scale. Instead, look at the labels on the sides of the triangle. Those numbers won't lie. A triangle like this may not look equilateral, but the numbers say it is.
Okay, that's like Kobe said that my equilateral triangle did not look equilateral, but because I had the hash marks on it that said they were equilateral, that's what you go by. So if the picture says it, even though a picture doesn't look like it, if the numbers or the hash marks on the sides say that it's equilateral or that the sides are the same, then you have to believe it because people and computers and all those kinds of things aren't going to always be perfect to draw pictures exactly to the right size. Okay? So you got to read the information on it, not just what you look at. That's when we were doing the complex figures. You're like, oh, it looks like 1 inch. I said, no, you can't just tell me that it looks like it because I need to know mathematically why. Because sometimes the pictures aren't always right. Okay? All right, let's try this real quick.
Zoe's changed her mind. She wants an equilateral triangle guitar now. Which one should she pick?
Okay, fingers. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. You tell me. I have mostly 3 saying that C is an equilateral triangle.
And that's it. C is an equilateral triangle because it has 3 equal sides and 3 equal angles. Triangle A has no equal sides or angles, and triangle B has only 2 equal sides and 2 equal angles. Here's a pop quiz. Which kind of triangle has at least 2 sides that are equal?
A, equilateral. B, isosceles. C, isosceles and equilateral. Or D, scalene. 2 sides that are equal. I see mostly 2s.
Sorry, that's not it. Isosceles and equilateral are both correct. This can get tricky. An equilateral triangle has 3 sides that are equal in length, which means that it has at least 2.
Okay, so we should have
Way to go! Isosceles and equilateral are both correct. An isosceles triangle has at least 2 sides that are equal in length. An equilateral triangle has 3 sides that are equal in length, which means that it has at least 2.
All right. So we are going to work on the practice. It's a unit test, but we're going to use it as practice in here. You're going to need your activity workbook and your hardback book, okay? So the first page is in your activity workbook. The second page is not. So the first page is on page 86, and you can open up to that one.